Gracias, gracias.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to watch Mistura. My name is Aliena Ganosa. I'm an entertainment reporter for Univision in Los Angeles, and also I happen to be the associate producer for Mistura. And that's why my crew is kind of taking advantage, of this. That's why I'm going to be the moderator tonight. Without any further delay, I'm going to introduce you to part of our team, of course, starting by our director, writer, and editor, Ricardo de Montreuil. Also with us, actor Juan Pablo Olyslager, playing Jose. And actress Luciana Di Laura. Sal Ojeda, sound mixer of the movie. And last but not least, are you ready? Luis Colina, editor of the movie. It was, I guess, in October, 3 years ago, in October, that I first read the first script, the first draft. I was one of the first people that was lucky enough to read this. Ricardo sent the script to me. So there's somebody that inspired this story. Your grandma. Tell us a story about that.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the film. Thank you for staying for the Q&A. Should we do this in Spanish or English?
Full house.
Mistura. A mixture.
Yeah, so I started writing this script at the beginning of 2022. Just being very frustrated by the divisive rhetoric of all our leaders worldwide. It has become very fashionable to try to divide us, and so I wanted to tell a story that could prove that the diversity of de un pueblo, a society, can make it better, can make this society better. And I thought that Peruvian food or gastronomy was the ideal example. It's a gastronomy created out of the fusion of European, African, Chinese, Japanese, and mixed with our Incan culture. And if you take one of these cultures out of that mixture, right, it won't be as good as it is. It's a mix of all this that makes that gastronomy great. So I use my grandmother divorced in the 60s, and I grew up hearing some of those stories. So I used that as a starting point to tell this story. But still, after I started writing it, Christian Meier, who played Roberto, he told me that when he read it, he told me that's the story of my madrina.
Oh, godmother.
Godmother.
Yeah, my godmother, who's my Chayulfo, who's a very famous chef, Peruvian chef. She also got divorced in the 60s, and after that she opened this business and became a very successful chef. And then suddenly I realized that is a very common, that many women has gone through the same experience. And so yeah, that's where it started.
This is going to be for Sal. How do you recreate, and for you too, because you were editing with Sal, how do you recreate the Lima of the 1960s and what, after production, like at the editing sessions, like how do you recreate that? Did you use some kind of special effects to recreate that?
Yeah, but I think that's Luis. Luis Colina, he co-edited the film with me. And yes, I mean, we use some visual effects. You know, Lima, when we have the drone shots over the ocean and we see Miraflores, obviously Miraflores doesn't look like that anymore. So we use some visual effects to make it look like how it looked back then. And
yeah, I mean, I have to definitely rely on Ricardo because he's moving in Peru, and I think I went to Peru when I was like 40 years ago also. But you know, we have a lot in common. I'm actually from Venezuela, so we have, you know, all our cultures have a lot in common with the sounds. I don't know if you hear like in the very beginning of the movie, it's like that harmonic breathe in the, you know, the little guy that goes through the street to sharpen the knives and scissors. That I grew up with sounds like that, and little details that the ocean by and the wind and you know, the engines and all that stuff that, you know, was more like your department.
Yeah, so we got a lot of input from both Luis and Ricardo. I never been in Peru myself, but I remember my grandma's house is kind of similar to this house. And one thing that we wanted to portray was that the house had also a personality, and it was part of the story. And Ricardo wanted that house to feel alive. And you know, for this type of movie, sometimes the backgrounds are a little bit louder than normal, but we also wanted to, you know, give that sense of pressure and, you know, feeling that normal world was overwhelming, you know, and that adds to the tension of the story. But in weeks prior to start working on this movie, we talked to Ricardo a lot about the sounds of Lima back then, and so we started gathering a bunch of sounds from Lima. Yeah.
Hello, yeah, it's still working.
Can I add something?
Yes.
I mean, some of those sounds are the little whistle that you hear sometimes, that's like the guy that sharpens knives, and what else, you know, some knobs.
The ice cream vendor.
Yeah, the ice cream vendor, that's, you know, so we use a lot of those little details that, you know, took you to that time.
Tell me now the process of the casting, because you wanted Barbara for this role because you have worked in the past with Barbara, and you have a great relationship with her. But there was, you know, the availability, right? That was the first issue, and then teaching her how to talk Peruvian, and we're going to talk about that with Juan Pablo as well, because they had to take dialect classes in order to sound Peruvian.
Well, I was lucky enough, I mean, I know Barbara since 2005, we shot La Mujer de Mi Hermano, also I know Christian Meier, I worked with him also in La Mujer de Mi Hermano back then. So when I started writing the script, the first person I called was Barbara, like I mean, a few weeks after I started writing it, to see if she would be interested in working with me on this film, and she loved the idea and immediately came on board Christian too. But the fact that I had them on board since while writing, I was able to tailor the script to them. And I knew that I wanted Luciana for the role of Lucia. So I knew Luciana, so I wrote the script, the role for her. And then Juan Pablo, he got on board a little bit later through Daniela. Daniela introduced us to him. And then also I checked his work, obviously it's amazing, and also was able to tailor his character to him. I was lucky that we were casting, or we had the main cast while I was writing, so that helps a lot.
Let me add something. For the ones who don't know, because I've gotten this question a lot, who is the guy, Julio Ambrosio, who is playing Oscar? For the Peruvian people that are here, you don't know him because Uli has never acted before. So it was Ricardo who actually saw, he had the eye, and I always say, and this is not because he's here, I always say that Ricardo can make a cactus act. And not because, I mean, Uli has all the talent, but the eye of the director, that's what kept me there. It was like, you know what, this guy is my Oscar, and he trained him, and of course, Uli has a lot of talent, but you trained him in order to portray Oscar.
Yes, Uli, he's a percussionist, a very famous percussionist in Peru. His family is an emblematic family of Afro-Peruvian music, and Christian was very close to Uli's father, so he introduced us to Uli. Christian sent me his work, and on stage performing. He's been on stage since he was a little kid, and yet we knew that he was able to act. He just needed to know the process, of an actor, and he did an incredible job. But I just wanna tell you guys an anecdote. Luciana is my niece, right? That's how I say it. She's my niece. And so when we started having calls with Puli, Zoom calls to start rehearsing, I asked Luciana, "Hey Luciana, can you join us so you can play the role of Norma, so that you can help Puli?" So Luciana joined the Zoom call. They were Puli and Sally. They greet each other. "Hey Lu, hey Puli, what's up?" And I was like, "So you guys know each other?" And Luciana, "Yeah, he's my uncle." And I was like, "What?" Such a small world. So Luciana is also related to Puli and related to me, so small country, I guess. And about the accent, Juan Pablo and Barbara did an incredible job. The Peruvian accent tends to be very flat, so it's very hard to imitate because of it. So they worked very hard with a great accent coach, and they did a great job. I think no Peruvian has complained so far about their accent.
Juanpi, and we're going to say the same about the Guatemalan accent. The Guatemalan accent it's difficult to imitate. So how did you acclimatize to the Peruvian accent, and how many months did it take?
Well, it was like a month and a half. So I had Zoom classes with Oscar. I don't remember his last name, but he was a very good teacher in showing me how to neutralize the Guatemalan accents. Any Guatemalan in the house? No? The Guatemalan accent yeah? Okay. So you sing a lot in Guatemalan Spanish. So we worked together in order to neutralize it, and I'm happy with the result. Yeah.
And also you did a lot of, it was your third time in Peru, or your second time when you went there to film?
My second filming, I went to Peru my first time as a tourist, and I absolutely loved the country. I saw Anthony Bourdain. You remember Anthony Bourdain? I saw a program of his where he was going the Hiram Bingham from Cusco to Machu Picchu, and I said, I have to do that someday. So I programmed a trip, and I did it. I was very happy. Afterwards, I was promoting a movie that we filmed in prison here in Los Angeles, and I met a producer who was going to film a movie with Eduardo Mendoza de Chave, which is a Peruvian director. So I went to Lima again, and I absolutely love Peru and the people, the food, the culture. And when we talked with Ricardo and through Daniela, I was so excited to go back to Peru to do a film of this magnitude, of this importance. What I love about this movie and the timing of its release is that it talks about the importance of variety, of mixture. We could extrapolate that to societies. And I think a great result come of diversity. So I think that's a very important message. I hope people see it about this film, especially in this city, in these difficult times for immigrants and diversity.
Mm-hmm. For research purposes only, in order to play his character, Juan Pablo devoured huge amounts of Peruvian food. I'm a witness.
It wasn't hard at all.
Luciana, talking about exactly that same point, because the other day somebody was interviewing me from Peru, and they were kind of insisting that all the movies about food, and the movies about food, because we all, Peru is all about food, and I was like, well, it's not about food. Food is one of the main characters maybe, but this movie is so much more about, you know, how embracing our differences makes us greater. And it's funny because we've talked about this, you know, when they see a super white, blonde, blue-eyed girl from Peru, the immediate reaction is like, no, you're not. And I want you to explain to people that are not Peruvian, you know, how that diversity makes our food actually so international.
Yes, I think that this movie it's so similar as and important because every ingredient can be a representation of the society and each culture and all of the immigration that Peru has and all of the Hispanic culture has. And I think that that's what makes the Peruvian food so amazing because it has so many, a lot of elements and a lot of ingredients and unique ingredients that are super unique. And that's what makes the Peruvian food. And I think that for me, I get a lot of comments of like, oh, you don't look Latina or you're not Latina enough. And I'm, no, yes, I'm super Peruvian. But it's owning that our culture. Yeah.
Ricardo, so this is a movie that actually embraces women and empowers women. From a very male's perspective point of view, how do you start writing about it and connecting to that? I don't know, society shuns her because who knows what she didn't do in order to retain her husband, right? That's so. How do you put your shoes on her? How do you channel that struggle?
I don't know. I guess I'm surrounded. I have two daughters. My wife is there, and I don't know. I guess as I told you, my grandmother went through a similar experience, and I saw how it affected not just her, but her family, because of family trauma, and how resilient she had to be to get ahead during a time, where women didn't have the opportunities that had today, So.
I'm going to go to the couple of two last questions, and we're going to go to probably one or two questions from the audience. What were the main challenges of shooting an independent movie in a month and a half? Because that was it, right? 1 month. So the movie was shot in a month. So what were the main challenges that you encountered?
Time. Yeah, time was the main challenge, but we were able to have a long pre-production, so we were very prepared. And also we had an incredible team in Peru. The same team I shot Hola with, which was my second film, like almost 20 years ago. So I knew all of them, but now we were more experienced. The entire group had several films and a lot of awards. So yeah, this production was a pleasure. We had an incredible team. We had a good time, and I think we were all very prepared. And yeah, and then that was production also. We were so lucky to have Sal and Luis to come on board.
Yeah, we have to say that you brought the camera and the lens to Peru because it.
Just don't bring it too close to you.
So yeah, we have to say that you brought the camera and the lens to Peru to film this movie.
Yes, but the cameras were like Arri Alexas, which are like not even Arri Alexas Mini, which are not like neither the newest model or the best ones. But we got great lenses from Panavision that were the same lenses used for the Phantom Thread, which is a great film by Paul Thomas Anderson, also a period film. And actually, the look was great, but these are not expensive lenses. Actually, these are very old lenses that nobody wants. So we were able to get them for a really good price, and it really gave that beautiful texture to the film.
Sal and Luis, when you get this project, what is it that you injected into the film? What is it that, when you see the raw material, you're like, okay, you know what, I want to do this, or I want to do that. I want to inject this part of what I see in the film.
I just want to add something because just to give you some context. Sal is an incredible artist. He has made like huge films. I mean, Sal usually does a little bit. Also, Luis started his career as assistant editor of The Godfather 3. So we were incredibly lucky to have such an incredible, talent, in our film. I mean, and that's why the film looks and sounds so great.
They don't have a microphone.
I can't take that much credit because really it was all Ricardo's vision. When I came on board on the project, he's already had an assembly, and it was definitely lengthy problems and, well, not problems, but it was long. And then we kind of had to massage it and work it out, and it was just great to, come together as a team, the flow of the movie, the combination of the emotions you see on the screen, and the food. The food was definitely kind of dictating the tempo. The music, our composer is not with us tonight, but you can tell it's an amazing, element as well. Put it all together. We did this for nothing, by the way, which is an amazing contribution. And so it was great to see. Now I haven't seen the film in a while with an audience, so I was like crying, like seeing it for the first time, remembering what we went through. I mean, it wasn't suffering, but it was just emotional. And the connection with those two characters there from two different worlds, they came together, and all the message and everything that's going on here right now. So the film, when I got it, Ricardo had it in pretty good shape, and I just basically helped it, refine it a little bit more and shorten it a little bit more. And then we put all the elements, the tech music, so we can tell the composer how to, what to do. But he did totally outdid our ideas. Did an amazing job, and the sound, Sal and company as well. So it was a great pleasure to work on it.
Yeah, same thing. In our case, our team is pretty much everyone is white American. So when Ricardo and his team, they were looking for a sound team, they reached out to Cameron Franklin, who's the sound supervisor, and who I've been working with for the last few years. And it worked out because it turned out that I, speak Spanish, and they needed a Spanish-speaking dialogue editor. So that worked out, and then I saw the film, and it looked beautiful from the very beginning, and I knew that I could, be a good asset for it, and especially understanding, the tone and the performances, to be able to extract and get the best out of those performances, and the challenges also, especially the market scenes. In a couple of them, there was someone blasting Mana in the background. So we had to kind of figure out a way to clean it and extract it and not lose any of the emotion. Yeah.
Do we still have a little bit of time for the questions for the audience? Hello?
Mau, ¿sí? Pregunta para la audiencia.
Can we do a couple of questions? Okay, a couple of questions, great.
All right, well, congratulations. I feel lucky to be here watching this movie because it coming back many memories from my growing up in Peru. I used a bus that is kind of in between purple and blue. And I was riding the bus all the way from Barrios Altos to Breña. I was a proud student from Guadalupe, Colegio Nacional Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe. I grew up there. So I almost out my mind when I heard Olyslager. Oh God, I remember that story. Thank you for giving all these memories to me in 2 hours. Barbara Mori was excellent. Like she can be better. I feel on the way that she acting and she say everything. So, oh man, was magnificent. Thank you for giving to Peru the opportunity to nominate this movie to everybody can see on the wall. I'm here to supporting. And my question, sorry for making it longer. My question is, well, after 20 years, or I'm not sure how many years, but after I see La Mujer de mi Hermano, with these two iconic actors, like Barbara Mori, I will never forget it, from Ruby and any other soap operas from Mexico and many other ones. And Christian Meier, one of the iconic Peruvians, that he do a lot of careers. How good is find the both together again on this Mixtura?
Well, it was great. I mean, I know them for 20 years. I worked with them in a movie. We were like in our 20s. We were like quite young. We a very small movie that became like very popular, right? Like, so it was a very intense experience for us. And then we remained friends through the years. So, and but it was very easy to work with them after, now they're like a very much, they master their craft, they're incredible actors. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a great experience.
Any other question?
Yeah, we were both at the same time. I want to know about the was there any training in the cooking for the actors, or like for Luciana, for instance, as a waiter, and the cutting, the chefs, everyone in the kitchen, the actors, did they have to?
Say that the chef is a true chef.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he's a true chef.
He's not an actor either. He's a chef. Actually, it's very interesting. His dad owns or used to own a restaurant called Matsuei in Lima, a sushi restaurant. And his dad actually hired Nobu out of Japan.
Oh, wow.
So Nobu actually is kind of like his uncle.
Oh my God.
Because he actually goes Matsuei today. You can eat Nobu's menu there.
Him-
So yeah, so Toshi, he's not an actor, he's a chef, and he's the one that trained us all how to.
He was so natural and the knives and everything. So I was like,
But by the way, you can see more of Toshi in Comida Callejera, Netflix, Latin America, Street Food Latin America. You can see him there doing his magic. But yeah, he's a true chef, and that's why I say that this man can make anybody act.
Thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations. It was beautiful, beautiful, the Mistura and everything. I saw like the question is, because we've seen examples before in cinema, like Driving Miss Daisy, like probably Lessons in Chemistry, which is on Apple, but it's a TV series where we can get to see the relationship between the characters and everything. Did you by a chance, where besides the food and everything and the culture in Peru, which is magnificent, and all the contributions, did you, by any chance, had a vision on that, or supported were you supported by that vision of those films, or were you inspired by that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, no, I mean, it's, I built it out of like as I said, stories that I grew up hearing about my grandparents' divorce, and every character is loosely based on people that I knew growing up in Peru. So it's actually, even though it resembles, like you said, Driving Miss Daisy a little bit because of the dynamic, it was not really,
Right.
I didn't use them as a base.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we
Yeah,
have?
there's a thing like a gentleman has.
Okay, all right, okay. The last one, because yeah, we have to go. Yes,
¿Yo?
yes, you.
Okay, ¿cómo estás?
Hola.
¿Cómo te va? Last time I know Daniela.
I know, we haven't seen each other in a
Haven't seen each other
while.
in a while. So congratulations. Beautiful movie. Beautiful, straight to the point. The last time I saw you, you told me that it might be considered to go to the Oscars to represent Peru. So what's the status, do you know right now?
Okay.
A different movie got selected. I mean, but something that we couldn't control. But sadly, we are not going to be A different film got selected recently to represent Peru for the Oscars, so sadly we won't be the ones representing. Yeah, so.
This fine group of people are really politically correct. I'm not. What the heck? I don't think that there's another movie better, and it should have been chosen. Period. I'm sure the movie's great, but no, it's not this movie. And okay, let's see what happens. Thank you so much for coming, and